Hello, this is the Lord's Legion and welcome to a brand new movie review, and as you can see this is a part of the series known as The Path to Infinity War, where I'm going to be looking back on each and every film within the MCU up until the release of Avengers Infinity War. And now we get to the true finale of Marvel's Phase 2 in the form of Ant-Man, although truth be told it should be more like a Phase 2.5 film, as this film is sort of placed awkwardly within the timeline. Though that being said, many people deem Ant-Man to be one of the most enjoyable, hilarious, and debatably even the best film within the MCU thus far, but is it really as good as everyone else makes it out to be? Well, let's find out. So the film centers around Scott Lang, who is this ex-criminal who ends up being recruited by none other than Hank Pym himself, as Hank Pym wants to mentor this young man in the name of Scott Lang so that he could become the new Ant-Man. And the reason why he wants Scott Lang to be the new Ant-Man is so that he could perform a heist so that he could prevent a greedy businessman who is known as Darren Cross from selling Hank Pym's dangerous technology, which is known as Pym particles. And as you can see, the story is as simple as it gets, and the real question is, do I personally think Ant-Man is a good film? It's pretty plain. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about this film. It's just plain. I wouldn't say it's bad, nor would I even say it's a good film. I just think it's just plain, and if anything, overrated and forgettable. Paul Rudd portrays as Scott Lang in this film, and honestly I think he does a pretty good job. He's charming, down to earth, and above all else he's actually relatively funny. And even in some scenes he does have some legitimate character growth, and he also has some touching scenes with him and his daughter. And if I was to give this film praise, I would honestly praise this actor for doing an amazing job as Scott Lang. Michael Douglas plays as Hank Pym in this film, and truth be told, I think he plays a good mentor role to Scott Lang. Obviously this movie does take a lot of liberties with Hank Pym as a character in comparison to the comics, but for the most part these changes do actually work for this film. Not to mention we also have Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, and you know, she was fine, although wasted, but here's hoping she can do a lot more as the Wasp in the sequel. We also have Michael Pena as Luis, I think it's pronounced, to which many people absolutely adore this character, but honestly I thought he was an annoying shitbag who wouldn't shut the fuck up. And lastly we have Corey Stoll as Yellow Jacket, or rather Darren Cross, and you know, he was just Obadiah Dane 2.0. Comparisons aside though, I don't think he did too bad of a job, and at the very least he was an enjoyable enough villain. The only other praise I can give this movie is the fact that the effects and the way they actually incorporate Ant-Man's shrinking abilities are absolutely incredible. They were clearly creative, and above all else, they were enjoyable to watch. And even the fight scenes whenever Ant-Man actually uses his shrinking abilities are incredible, and like I said, they're really enjoyable to watch. And honestly, those were the best parts of this entire movie. Hell, even the Falcon cameo was pretty kick-ass. And it's always a pleasure to see Anthony Mackie take up the role. But at the end of the day, I really don't have too much to say about this one because, like I said, despite a few things that I really like in Ant-Man, I honestly think that the film as a whole was just bland. I wouldn't say it's a mess like Iron Man 2 or even as forgettable as Thor: The Dark World, but to me the saving graces in this film are very few and far between. And at the end of the day, the only word I can think for Ant-Man is just plain. And honestly, I would be willing to give Ant-Man a 5 out of 10, but if it wasn't for Paul Rudd as well as the creative effects and fight scenes, the final verdict for Ant-Man, I'm going to go ahead and give it a very generous 6 out of 10. Maybe it's just me and I'm missing something out of this film, but honestly, I just think it's forgettable. And I honestly think Ant-Man is up there with Thor Ragnarok as the most overrated MCU film to date. So what do you think of Ant-Man? Do you believe that this is an incredibly fun romp, or do you think that's highly overrated? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.